What's going on, YouTube? Q back here again with another video for you. In today's video, I'm about to tell you what I dislike most about my 2023 GR Corolla. So like I said, this car is a blast to drive, but it is not perfect, as is every car that I've experienced in my life to this point. So I'm about to go over everything that I dislike most about this vehicle. Now, none of these are a deal breaker. It's still not a terrible car, but it does have some gripes and some minor annoyances that come along with it. So let's go over these and hop into the video. Shout out to the men of culture. Got Hunter Gang Nate, Race Car Friends, Blueprint 1LE. So if you like cars like these, come join the MOC. GR Corolla. In pictures, they don't look that great at all to me. They're kind of on the unattractive side, but since I got this one, I've grown to like the looks, and it doesn't look bad at all. I think it looks kind of good. So it's not really that bad at angles, but it looks much better in person than it does in pictures. I'll just say that. We got the back angle that looks like Glorilla. I must not know who she is, because nobody laughed at that in the one video. I thought it was hilarious. But the first order of business, what I dislike the most about this GR Corolla is how much brake dust that we get here. So these are gloss black wheels, but they look bronze. I have been driving aggressively, but this is a lot. So let's get in here with the sun shining on here. This is a ton of brake dust. Let's do the finger. Boom, you see all of that? You see that? It's supposed to be shining down here. Now look at my finger. It's black on the front and the back. So these brake pads, that's going to be what I need to change out to eliminate some of that brake dust. But if I don't want to have to change the brake pads, I'm going to have to get them ceramic coated to kind of slow down all this collection of brake dust. Because I don't know who supplies these Brembo. A lot of these Brembo cars that have had, they get a lot of brake dust. So the Integra gets a lot of brake dust. The ZL1 did, the GT350 did. All of these cars are getting a lot of brake dust, and I think they're all supplied by Brembo. So we need some more pads on here to mitigate that, because they making me look terrible out here. And I already don't wash my cars frequently, so it just looks even worse. The second thing I dislike most about this car is, and this gets me every time I come into the car, you get no armrest. Like an armrest should be here somewhere, but you don't get an armrest at all. You get the remains of an armrest, and you can well, they're on back order, but the armrest, this is like the inside of the armrest, and the armrest will come up from here, and yeah, it just doesn't come with the armrest at all. Like, what the heck? Why would you not get an armrest in this car? So every time I sit in here, I kind of like lean over to the passenger seat, because I'm used to the armrest stopping me from going all the way over. But yeah, no armrest. That is very weird to me. But if you do want to order one of these armrests, I'm going to give a shout out to my guy. He did an installation tutorial, and there's a couple different ones. You can get like a higher armrest or a lower one. But like I said, they're on back order, and I'm on that list because I think I want one of those. So while we're inside the car, I want to talk about my phone charging capabilities. So once I got this vehicle, I realized that I don't have a USB-C cable. I'm used to the USB-A, the rectangular USB. So now I got to use the smaller one if I want to charge my phone. But I don't have any of those cables. I would have to order one. But what I do have is wireless charging capabilities on my phone. And what sucks in this car is the wireless charger. So let me explain to you why. And this is the worst. I don't even know how this went into production, but it's terrible. So let me show it to you. Stepping into the car and looking down here, right in front of the manual, we got the wireless charger pad way up under here. So let me show you what it looks like when I put my phone down there. Flat out, there's my phone. So you know what else is down here? We got the heated seat controls. And you know what I turn on when I put my phone down there? A lot of the times, my heated seats are turned on. They're just toggle switches right down here. The location, number one, is terrible. And then the heated seat buttons are there, which is also terrible. But then, like the pad, it doesn't have rubber at the bottom. So when you're driving along, we got the phone is just sliding around here, and it like pops up and down and all of that. And this, yeah, it needs something down there, at least something soft. Like in my Integra, it's rubbery, so the phone won't slide. But here, it can slide all around the place and even pop up. It hasn't popped out yet, which I'm very surprised, but it does like pop up and down a lot. And then sometimes it'll stop charging because this little light down here will turn like yellow and green or flash yellow to mean it's not charging. So I got to lift the phone up and reseat it for my phone to begin wireless charging again. And this is what I mean by the USB-C port. Like, that's those new boys. I've been having the same USB cords for the longest. Now I gotta switch up, but it's no biggie. But since I got wireless charger, I figure I'd get hip to the future. But this is just, I still use it because that's all I got in here. But this is not the greatest design. I would recommend getting a case on your phone that allows wireless charger, because I'm out here naked with my phone. So in the backseat, your phone charging capabilities or whatever electronic you have, you kind of limit it. And people ragging on the Inflator about not having rear vents. You don't got that in here either. But you get another one of those USB-Cs. But is that for the front seat or the back seat? Because I don't know. I'm used to using the ones from the console to charge my phone if I had one of these cables. So would the passenger use it? Would the back seat people use it? It's kind of like ubiquitous in where it's located. Then we got this 12-volt outlet here, which I don't see too many people using those nowadays for whatever. But maybe you could, but I just don't have one. But the location of these is kind of bad because my kids, they complain because they didn't have a way to charge their devices up in here. So that's a gripe. It's not really family friendly. The car up in the front, it has a lot of room, but in the back seat, it's a little bit tight. And the further you go back, the tighter it gets. Hey-oh. And like I say, it's not a lot of practicality in here. So I did wish it was more practical, because I get asked a lot, like, which one would I have as one car? Just for the practicality alone, it would be really rough for me to do it. So if you don't have a lot of stuff you need to carry, like in the cargo area, then this will be fine for you. But it is smallish, so just beware. Something else on the interior we're missing. I'm used to having home link, and I thought Toyota would have that in this car, but we don't. We got to carry the rectangle boy. So shout out to LiftMaster for allowing me to get into the garage. The Integra doesn't have this either. Shocker. And yeah, we have no home link. Like, what the heck is this? Got an SOS button underneath. This thing started up like a Lambo. You want to press that SOS, you got to flip this button. But yeah, we don't have a home link. So if you want to get your garage open, you better get a phone app or the LiftMaster. Contrary to 100 Gang Nate, this time I'm inside. So that's where most of the dislikes are. So we got another thing on the interior of the car that I dislike. So with these vehicles, these are versatile vehicles. So it is a performance-minded car, but people are going to live with this as the only car. So keep that in mind. Like, I know it's a performance car, but this has to be a daily driver for a lot of people. I'm here to bring that. So let's get on. Number 5 or 6, whatever number you count it out. So these steering wheel controls are extremely flimsy and not reassuring to the touch, especially the volume rocker and the skip track. So these are going to be the buttons that I use the most, and these are kind of hard to find. They're so slim and not tactile at all. The feedback on it when you press it is not that reassuring, and sometimes you'll press it, the command won't go through. So these steering wheel controls could use some help, and there's a lot of them as well, but for the most part, I'm only using the skip track and the volume button. One more thing I gotta add, the seating position. So these are manual seats right here, so everything manual, recline and slide back. The seating position once you're in here, still kinda high. Like, I'm used to like sitting down low in the car, like the Camaro, the Integra, the Mustangs. But there's a few cars that I've had, like the M2 and the Hellcat, where you sit kinda high. You sit higher in this car. It's not the highest seating position, but it is higher than I would like. And then that leads to like the steering wheel as well. So the steering wheel, this is at the lowest setting right here. Normally when I would be cruising in this seating position, to be comfortable, I would need to be like at a 8 and 4 position, which would be down here and down here, which is comfortable for this seating position. But I'm used to being able to drive it like a 10 and 2 or a 9 and 3 for the lowest setting on the seat and the lowest setting on the steering wheel. So that doesn't match up. Let me see what it looks like when we go higher. It doesn't even really go that far when you tilt it. But yeah, at the lowest setting, it's not my most preferred, and I got the steering wheel all the way out to me, so I'm used to being able to slide my knees up under here, which I can, but that would just be really awkward. So the seating position along with the steering wheel position is not perfect for me. It works, but it's not perfect. There could be better. On this key, there's no trunk release. On the inside, I haven't found the trunk release. So to open the trunk, you gotta do one of these here things. Look at the like a Practicality. But when I just got this order picked up from Target, The person was having a hard time and they was looking at me to open the trunk, but I'm like, I can't pop the trunk because my car don't do all of that. So yeah, that's another downfall. So the final thing that I dislike about my 2023 GR Corolla is, and we gotta hit this little latch right here to open it. That's the fuel door, and that's gonna be a B right there. And that's the fuel economy. Oh my God, we're not even capless. Zoink. But the fuel economy on here isn't great. And this is a 3-cylinder engine with a 1.6 liter turbo, 300 horsepower. But the fuel economy on here isn't the greatest for me. I'm averaging 23.4 miles per gallon, which isn't terrible for the performance that you get, but the engine is tiny. You would think it would be a little bit better, but I guess with how much boost that the turbo gives. So in comparison to my Integra, my best miles per gallon was 27 versus this was 25. And my MPGs on here averaging for what I have driven so far is 23.4 versus the 23.9 on the Integra. So the Integra's got this beat on fuel economy, which I'm shocked. I thought this would be, I'd be averaging closer to 30 just in normal commuting, which I have been doing lately. But it is what it is. So for those of you looking to save on fuel, it's not gonna be great. Well, to me, fuel is fuel. Like, it is what it is. But if you're looking for a fuel sipper, like, this is not the car that's gonna be it. Like, between all of these hot hatches out there, so this is probably in the mix with the rest of them out there. To be honest, I would assume the Elantra N would get better, and the Civic Si if you compare it to those. But even the Type R's, I'm thinking the Type R will do better because my Integra does the same thing. But fuel economy is not stellar on here. So those are my dislikes of my GR Corolla. So like I said, nothing's a deal breaker, but these things you might not notice upon test driving, if you can test drive one of these. So just my personal experience and my short time of ownership on here. So if any of these grind your gears, then it might not be the car for you. But it's still a very fun, very livable car, but it does have its drawbacks. But like I said, none are deal breakers. So if you own one of these, let me know what you hate about these and drop it down in the comment section below. But with that, I'm Q checking out. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, browse the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.